start with the revenue conversation. Start with it. What is your path to profitability? When do you need to make your first dollar? How will you do it? Who's going to pay you the first dollar that you make? What's the margins? How does this look in 3 years? You need to know all of that before you start. I am a serial entrepreneur. Started a lot of e-commerce, mostly digital businesses since graduating college up until this point. Right now, currently, I am the CTO of Brado, and we are a market service firm focused on a lot of data and qualitative and quantitative market research. I grew up in the South in the United States and Louisiana, in a very, very small rural community. What I would say as a poor community, if you would, with a lot of challenges. I think for me, the big key to that, story is that never quit attitude, never quit learning, never quit trying to get better, never quit questioning yourself, never quit in all aspects of your life, has been, that driving force to my story. And when I see a lot of entrepreneurs, they come about things very differently, but they tend to have that never quit, single-minded determination. I ended up getting a degree in a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in digital design. I had no real artistic talent, still don't, but what I found was that I had a real passion, not for the making of digital assets, but the interactions people had with them and the marketing and promotion of those assets. So I realized that with this kind of coming, tsunami of digital new that was going to wash over everything, that there was going to be a huge need for people to teach people how to interact with those assets, to teach people how to market those assets. And so I really focused on that from the beginning. Our ultimate mission, if you will, is to help you understand your consumer better than she understands herself. It's an impossible goal, but that's what we're striving to do. And we do that with a combination of data and empathy. Data we all sort of get, but empathy we usually don't. Our most successful clients get both. Our charge is to say basically data plus empathy equals opportunity. Opportunity to get in front and go where the market is going to be. It's all very simple at the end of the day. Know your customer, know her needs, and know what outcomes she wants to achieve, and then apply that to content marketing, to SEO, to paid media, to insert whatever you want here. But if you don't nail that first part, it doesn't matter what you do. I would say two challenges. One was I was broke. I didn't have any money, and I didn't have any rich uncles or people to call. So that was challenge number one. The second challenge is interesting. Is I was very young when I was 22 and trying to start my own stuff. I would get on these calls and I would be Albert, because that sounded older, right? And I chuckle now, like at my younger self. But the truth of the matter was money and youth were the two things I had to overcome. I didn't have any money. And so what all of my ideas had to be bootstrapped. Before that, I didn't even know the word bootstrapped. I just was bootstrapped by the fact of not having funds. So it forced me to think very much about the first dollar that I would earn and win, because it mattered. So I couldn't just say, well, we're building this product and we'll worry about, the funding later. And, we'll just build something people love and then we'll make. No, I was like, I need to build something that in the next 2 months starts to produce positive revenue. I think for a while that revenue got to be a dirty word. Like, oh, we don't think about that. We're going to think about, everything but that. And it's a mistake. It's a mistake. Because the conversation is going to happen whether you want it to or not. So you could build, the next Slack, but it doesn't matter. At some point, you're going to be in a room where the revenue conversation comes up. And so I'm saying, start with the revenue conversation. Start with it. What is your path to profitability? When do you need to make your first dollar? How will you do it? Who's going to pay you the first dollar that you make? What's the margins? How does this look in 3 years? You need to know all of that before you start. If you can't answer that, you're just delaying a tough conversation. You may make a great product. You will make a great product, but you're gonna come into some pain when you do eventually have to have that revenue conversation. Being an entrepreneur is being honest with yourself. Just brutally honest with yourself. Is your idea horrible? Is it good? It has to pass you first. And if you are deluding yourself and you need 12 people to tell you if your idea is good, you're not being honest with yourself. If you don't know your weaknesses, you're not being honest with yourself. If you try to do an idea that isn't you, you're not being honest with yourself. Be true to yourself. Know your strength. Play to it. Yeah, I guess my pet peeve is complaint without solution. I've noticed this all the way through, is a lot of people will point out what is wrong, but very few people point out what to do about it. Until you start solving for what's wrong, there's no point. You're making yourself sound good by pointing out flaws. My first fear was that somehow I would, spectacularly fail and lose everything or something of that nature. That went away pretty quickly, because I realized that even if I did spectacularly fail, I wouldn't quit. I would just start something new. And but the second one was much harder, and that was my fear of failing others. The fear was, if I fail now, I could make someone lose their house, their mortgage. They can't send their kid to this school anymore because I failed and thus failed them. I believe that my biggest accomplishment as an entrepreneur are with the people that I've worked with, not myself. And so, for instance, I have multiple employees with me today that have worked with me 10 to 15 years. And those employees were there when, they were there when we were trying to figure out how we were going to make payroll. And they are there when now they're, vice presidents and running, teams and organizations for me. For me, it's the concept of outcome-driven innovation. So the more popular name of that is jobs to be done. So if you just Google jobs to be done, there's plenty. Once you flip that light switch on, it'll never go off, and you need to flip it on. I don't care if you're making software. I don't care if you're making, a cloud hosting solution. It doesn't matter. You really need to understand outcome-driven innovation You need to understand the job that your customer is trying to do and where you fit into helping her make progress on that job. There's nothing I would go back. There's nothing where I'm like, oh man, shouldn't have done that. I would never do that again. But because it makes you who you are. I would say, don't let youth be an obstacle ever. That would be my one big mistake to avoid. And then on the flip side, don't let being old be an obstacle ever. So when you start thinking about your age and yourself, I'm too young, this room isn't going to take me seriously, I'm too old, these young kids aren't going to listen to me. You're just talking to yourself at that point. You're not, that's not constructive. If you are afraid to bring your idea to light, I'm afraid that your idea isn't worth it. Now, if you heard that and some flicker of like, no, then you're good. If you heard that and you went, oh crap, then it is your idea. It's bad. So, what's stopping you is my question. It's not your idea. What's stopping you? Is it, write it down. Is it money? Is it time? Like, what's stopping you? And then once you list the problems, what did I say earlier? I hate when people list problems and they don't offer solutions. Offer the solution. What's stopping you? Revenue? Offer the solution. Time? Offer the solution. Until you do that, it doesn't matter what your idea is. If you have a ton of money, you could hold quantitative surveys and qualitative interviews, but say you have no money, you still should be able to know. Google Trends is free. Analytics is free for most basic tiers. Talking to people is still free. You should know. If you don't know, then you don't know your product. A lot of the emails I get that I actually respond to are from entrepreneurs who are asking me a couple smart questions. They're not asking like, hey, can we jump on the phone for 3 hours and I pick your brain? They're just like, I'm struggling with this. Here's this one thing. Could you help me? What do you think about this? It's just one clean thing. I respond to those emails, and I think others do as well. So don't be afraid to ask. I think it's very very important. You, especially now, I mean, with COVID, it's even more important. Like it or not, we make quick snap judgments, and you can kind of get a feel or a vibe, if you will, about the professional nature of a product. About its, you kind of look at a logo and say, okay, is this cupcakes or is this SaaS, right? If you have a really good idea and it does help your customer achieve an outcome, a logo can help build that prestige. A better website will convert more people. So branding matters as much as it always has. Thank you, viewers, for watching FounderX series by Designhill. If you guys want to connect on social media, Twitter handle is @SEO. Love to hear your comments, questions, and feedback.